So, just like I said, I would like to give you one topic, and mainly, and that is you can act agile and be agile in a very unagile environment. And I will tell you what I mean by the unagile environment in a little bit. First, I would like to introduce our company. I'm sure you've all seen our booth outside with the VR station. We are Bohemia Interactive Simulations, and we do help train military and civilian personnel. We provide tools to integrate hardware and software that is used for training, and we use game technologies to do that. We also create AI, which is not fancy technology at this point. And so what do I mean by the complex environment? We have extremely conservative customers. As you can imagine, militaries are government organizations. They're bound by a lot of laws and regulations. And they're very conservative in their adoption of new technology. So sometimes it takes a year or up to a year to adopt a new version. They have very strict and complex laws regarding procurement. They don't want to be entangled in any corruption schemes, so everything needs to go by the book. And agility is not still on the top levels of the government accounting office. They still don't like that too much. We have very formal agreements. Everything needs to be specified up front and delivered and checked off by the contract. And we have a great distance between the actual users and the developers. So if we have the users, being the trainees and trainer, and the development team over there, and with a lot of steps in between. We have the training organization, we have procurement organization, which is someone who buys services and products for the government. And on our side, this is our side, the ISIM. We have a project manager, product owner, and the team. So what I would like to stress is that I love to evaluate teams in their agility based on the retrospectives. When they talk about the external problems on this side, they're not very mature yet. They're in the beginnings of their agility. And the more mature teams are concerned with problems on their side. What can we do to help? What can we do to improve? And we'll expand on that in the next slides. So what I would like to illustrate our agile journey on are two projects. One done in 2016, one in 2018. They were done for the same customer, same contract type, comparable effort, and yet the 2016 project was far above the budget, and the customer was not very happy. The 2018 project was well within the budget, and the customer was very satisfied. So what were the differences between the two projects? I used several categories to describe the differences, and we'll start one by one. So the first project was about 6 months late in its delivery to the customer, whereas the second project was 3 months early. And the main difference was in our understanding of what needs to be done. Whereas the first project was, the thinking inside of the company was, we have this period of performance of 6 months. We will just utilize the teams for that time, and we'll deliver the best product we can within that time. In the second project, we concentrated on the MVP for every single requirement and delivered that, with the remainder of the budget to be spent on what we want to improve and what the customer wants to improve. Project manager is, in our environment, someone who is the liaison between the development team and the customer, who knows the customer and their needs. It's given Agile, it's an extra step, but for us it's very important, and they do stuff that the team does not want to do, including accounting and reporting and all that kind of stuff. In the first project, the relationships between the project manager and the team were not great. In the second, they were. And we did achieve that by getting a more experienced PM and giving much more business context to the team. Within budget. The first project, no, not at all. Second one, yes. And we achieved that by establishing clear KPI. The staying within budget is an extremely important thing for our C-suite people, especially the CFO, obviously. And we created a KPI for the POs. You need to stay within budget, and we gave them tools to do that. We gave them visibility, almost day to day, of their spending, and they could achieve it. So, given what I've told you, how many of you think that in project one we did not do sprints and demos? Actually, we did. But we did it to the wrong people. We did it to the procurement organization person who was assigned to the project. We did not achieve reaching the SMEs, the people who actually will be using the software to train. So the feedback we got was only after we've delivered the software at the end, and they could play with it. So obviously the way there was not great. We did some smart things even in the first project. We created videos of the demos so that these videos could be shared with the SMEs, but they never were. And obviously they could not touch the software, so they could not evaluate how well it works for them. And obviously one final delivery over multiple deliveries, I don't need to speak about. So I would like to mention concepts that enabled us to internally achieve that difference. They're not especially sorted, but I think they're all important. And first and foremost is that we had people with vision that thought this could be done and achieved it from the middle, I would say. Our agile transformation is not top-down and it's not bottom-up, it's middle, up and down. And actually one of the most crucial people of the transformation is sitting right there, Andrew. And we've been able to discuss and employ some of the concepts that are needed. And I think that the most crucial one was the understanding that working software is the only measure of progress. That we did not accept anymore a statement from the team, yeah, it's done. No, unless we can see it in a deliverable software, it doesn't exist. Which is harsh, but I believe necessary. Obviously, setting the clear KPIs, including this definition of them, establishing what is important, and talking to the team about where they stand on the project, and giving the PO direct feedback every 2 weeks. And I would say an important factor was expectations of quality. We went from the developers will create an analysis, they will present that analysis to a committee of elders, and that committee will approve that or reject it and send them back to scurrying to their desks. We changed that to, we have a concept, we share the purpose, and then every 2 weeks we show the stakeholders what we've done, and they can provide feedback, especially internal stakeholders who were the largest force in rejecting not excellent, I don't mean technically excellent, but I mean excellent in functionality solutions that they would like to see. And we've gone a great way from a game-based company where everyone thinks about how the player feel and is this realistic enough to is this good enough for the customer to train with, which is a completely different set of requirements. Because the customer, usually for training, they don't care about every knob being exactly right, and because they want to train just a portion of what a tank does. And we did a lot of work on requirements management. As I said, we did a clear list of requirements, and these requirements need to be met. Sometimes these requirements would be very vague, like improve this, and there's no definition of done, or acceptance criteria, or this system needs to behave exactly like it does in the real world, which obviously cannot be met, or can, but with infinite time. So we changed in that way, mainly by talking to our sales force and being more involved with the actual requirements gathering and collecting the requirements and working with that way in advance of the actual start of work or just after, so that we don't sign a contract which says it needs to behave like in the real world. And we also confront use cases, which is what are you going to be using the software for? I don't know if you've seen the simulation or the videos in the hallway, but our software is extremely. There's not a single use case that runs through the software. You can use it in many ways, and sometimes the ways that the customer will be using the software is not clear even to us. So we need clarification of how will you actually be using the software that can be used in 1,000 different ways. So that actually brings me to the conclusion: you can be agile in a very unagile environment, and you can achieve that by working with agile concepts, and sometimes, as in our case, agile became a four-letter word to many of the people inside the company after a botched Scrum implementation 4 years ago. And we overcame that. Now people actually are selling our agility as a strength. And we've helped the sales force and our project management by having them understand what we can do for them. And they have a much better understanding of what we can accomplish using agile methodologies, but we do not necessarily call it agile to them. Just say, we can do this for you, we can do that, but we don't necessarily call it agile or Scrum, because that basically puts a label on it, and the label became tainted 4 years ago. And that concludes my talk. So, do you have any questions?